Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another little YouTube tutorial here on Photoshop. This is going to be a quick one, but it's something I noticed kind of the last time I went into Adobe Camera Raw, and I noticed that, or to take a step backwards, when I'm teaching Photoshop, I'm always telling people you want to become proficient and getting really good at, making your image edits, but you also want to become efficient. You don't want to be spending your whole life at the computer. I'm sure you have better things to do than editing thousands of photos in a tedious and slow manner. So I always try to look for those efficiencies. And one of the things that I always tell people to do is when you're processing your raw files, instead of just leaving everything over here at 0,0,0,0,0, figure out kind of on average, where do you wind up going with these settings? So for example, for me, I almost always add some clarity, I almost always add vibrance, saturation, I almost always tone down the highlights. So I like to set that as my Camera Raw default, and that way I start there instead of starting with everything at 0. So that's great. Now, the problem is that in one of the most recent updates in Adobe Camera Raw, I believe they changed it in February or March of 2020, so just recently. Normally you would go in here and you have Camera Raw defaults here, but normally you would have seen something called Save New Camera Raw Defaults. But they've eliminated that. And so I think it's confusing some people. It certainly threw me for a loop when I went and looked for that the other day. So I thought I would do a quick video just to show you how you can get around that. So the first thing you're going to want to do is perhaps if you shoot with more than one camera. So for example, for me right now, I mostly shoot with a 7D Mark II. That's what this image was shot with. But I'll also occasionally shoot with a 90D. So I just opened up two random images, one from each camera. The next thing that you're going to want to do is to actually make a preset for that camera. So the way we can do that is, so let's just say this is the 90D file. I could go ahead and I'll just do a test one here. So I'm just going to make it wacky. Just doesn't matter. We're just doing a test. So let's just say that's my preset. That's how I want all my pictures to start at from now on with the 90D. So we have to save a preset. So we go over here into the second to last little column, and you'll see we've already got some defaults that I've previously saved there. But if I want to make a new one here, I just come down here to New Preset down in the lower right, click on that, and it's going to ask me what do I want to call it. So I'm going to call it 90D test example, whatever. I'm going to delete this after, so it doesn't matter. We'll say OK. And then there we go. We can see we've got it there. If we wanted to also add it to our favorites, we could just hit the little star here, and then it'll appear up there as well. So now we would want to do the same thing for, or I guess I already have one there, but let's just do it anyways. I'll show you again real quick for redundancy. Let's say we wanted to make one for the 7D. We're going to get crazy with it. Doesn't matter. And we would come over here, same thing, new preset here. This one we would call 72 test example, and this is just telling us which things we want to apply, which we would want to apply everything. So now we have our two examples, and we could make this a favorite as well. This was a previous test one that I did, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. Okay, so we've got the two that we made, the 90D test example, 70 test example here. Now, how do we get Photoshop to know that we want to use those? So I'll go to the 90D image file first here. And what we would do is we come up here to this little Open Preferences dialog here up in the top bar. Click on that. And we can do a couple of things. We come down here to the raw defaults on the left of the box here. And what we can do is we can set a master preset. So I've set mine to be the defaults for the 7D2, but we can also say override the master setting for specific cameras. So for example, if I opened up any old raw file, it should go to this one, the 7D2. But if I open up one from my 7D2 or from my 90D, I can specifically tell it which preset to apply. So for example, maybe you shoot with a full frame body that has really good noise characteristics, and maybe you set one set of presets for those, and then maybe you have a crop body that maybe needs a little bit more noise reduction, or just, every sensor is different, so it's going to take different settings. So in this case, I'm on the 90D file, and if I wanted to choose a preset for that, I could come over here, and here's the one we just made, the 90D test example. So I would just select that, and now you can see that the camera, the 90D, the preset for it is going to be the 90D test example. So I could say, I think it's kind of weird that it doesn't seem like I can make I can change the 7D one here because I'm not on the 7D file out here. So to actually change the 7D one, I have to say OK, then select the 7D file, then go back in there. Now I'm on the 7D, and now it should show me there's my 7D test example. So that's just, it's a workaround. So it's kind of annoying in some ways. I don't know why I get why they would have done and added that functionality to have different cameras have a different starting point, but I don't really understand why they felt the need to delete the just basic functionality of saving new camera raw defaults. It's not like it was taking up a lot of space. I think it's kind of dumb to get rid of it. But I just wanted to quickly show you how you can maybe save some time by quickly setting up these defaults for your camera or cameras. And that way, instead of starting at just 0, 0, 0, 0 on everything, you can start closer to where you're actually going to wind up most likely. And it might save you perhaps, I don't know, maybe it saves you 10 seconds on the average file. But if you process thousands of images a year, it might save you a significant amount of time. So I hope that's helpful. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.